Hey guys, this is Jay with Powerful Thought Online. It's been a good couple days. Um, there's been, I think we have one subscriber, so whoever that is out there, how's it going? Uh, Comment on the video if you want. We can talk. You can be the famous first subscriber if I get to know you. So, anyway, I don't know what I'm going to talk about today, other than I've been just getting my life together a lot more. I've been talking to a lot more people about entrepreneurship, and it's interesting. I've always had the mindset of a 5 to 9 job, 9 to 5 job, or just a job in general that takes up 40 or more hours a week, and you work for somebody. And I was talking to my brother-in-law because he's an entrepreneurial kind of guy, as well as my brother and my sister, and my other sister. They actually all are, except me. They always are looking for ways to make money unconventionally, working for themselves. And I have really, I mean, I was kind of like that when I made my movie, but I followed a kind of a step by step process to make my movie. And I guess I got burned out on that project because I did everything. I wrote it, I directed it, I acted in it. I got unprofessional actors to act in it. I edited it, color correction, music, everything, and I burned out from it, I think. And that's why I stopped uh, making movies, because it cost so much. It took up so much time, and there was so little return. I think my movie ended up making like $3,000 at most, and it cost $5,000 to make. So it was a really micro budget film, but it was 90 minutes long, and it played at a few theaters. So I'm proud of it, but the incentive wasn't there to keep going. And I guess I wanted to commit myself to living a more conventional lifestyle, have a wife and kids, have a job, and a pension, working for a pension, and putting 30, 40 years into a career. And, after doing that for 4 years, and technically more because I worked at a job before that. Anyway, I found that that is not for me. But it's interesting because everyone has to start somewhere. I don't come from a rich family. Um, I don't have parents that paid for schooling. So I've done 2 years of college, and that's it, because it just costs too much. And to me, most of college is training you to work for somebody. And I don't think that's necessarily what I want to do. I want to offer services to people and work for them that way, but I don't want to clock in and clock out and just do whatever I'm told all day. I want to be able to make creative decisions. I want to have some autonomy in my life. Anyway, so you got to start somewhere. You can't be, you know, zero money in the bank or tons of debt and start a business. I mean, I'm sure people have done that, but it's really, really hard. And so I'm glad I went and got an apprenticeship and now I'm a journeyman electrician. I'm glad I went through that whole process of apprenticeship. And, with the ability, I could work for myself as an electrician, I guess. Um, but it wasn't the creative thing. I was denying that, the creative flow. So anyway, it's just interesting that you have to start somewhere. So these 9 to 5 jobs are always going to be there, and they're always going to be there for people to start somewhere. But uh, this idea of committing yourself to something for 30 or 40 years at the same place, doing what you're told and looking the other way, passing blame on to other people, uh, politics, and submitting to toxic leadership, that's just not for me. I don't know. Maybe to transcend that, uh, this is the right step. The entrepreneurship and the freelance writing that I want to do. So it's interesting. We were also talking about, me and my brother-in-law, that both of us started off doing the normal job thing, and we hit that wall where you realize you can't do, or you can't expand that much in that environment, because if you start outshining everybody, or if you start being more productive than everybody, they get rid of you or they start suppressing you. And that was how it was at my last job. And then I quit that and joined this apprenticeship. And by year 3, I was making more than the supervisors that were bullying me at the other job. It was a factory job. So I transcended that, and I learned a skill that now, no matter where I work, I could go, if I got laid off, if I quit, if I got fired, I could go work electrical. So, and then as I continued on that path, I realized the same thing happened. I was part of a union. It's probably the same for non-union, where they start suppressing you and you can't really outshine who's in charge. You can't keep improving and keep making your job interesting. They like everyone to just stay in line and follow the rules, do what you're told, and just keep coming to work for these hours and keep doing overtime, and your pension will build up, and that's what you're working for. And so that in 40 years, you can get, $3,000 or $4,000 a month as an old man or woman. So I think I've decided to transcend that now and work for myself. And yes, it's scary. It's a lot less scary than it was in my first video, because the more I learn about freelancing, the more books I read, the more research I do, and then the more actions I take, the confidence builds and the world starts opening up to you. And you start realizing there's so many more possibilities than you thought in your last job. Because to have that mindset of that I am doing this every day for 30, 40 years for that pension so that I'll be safe, it's always acting out of fear. I need the benefits, I need all this stuff for my family, and I need the social circles, I need all this, just this wall to build around me so that I feel safe. And I think that's good for most people. And I think it's essential to having a good psychology and a healthy mind. But at some point, if you are the type that wants to break through and have a more interesting, maybe more risky lifestyle, you have to break through that wall. And who knows? It has certainly made my life more interesting, and I don't regret it at all. I do think about things a lot more now, because it's like the world versus you, and the whole world is so huge. And when you're your own business, when you're your own entity, it can be pretty daunting, but step by step, it gets better. Um, like I said, that book I've been reading as well, Getting Things Done by David Allen, it's really helped because it gets all the ideas that are swirling around in your mind out on paper, and then you organize those things into actionable steps. So when you do that and you could see the progress being made step by step, it really gives you a lot of confidence. Of course, pitfalls happen, but that's how it is. That's how life is. Just solving problems and confronting seemingly pointless, stupid things. So, anyway, I guess this is more of a ramble video. I didn't really plan anything. I'm finding, the more you plan, it kind of takes away from the spontaneity of it. My goal is to keep improving this channel until it's really good, high quality, and to where I'm speaking better, more fluently, more charismatically, and providing really good content for anyone who wants to bust out of the prisons they build themselves, the prisons they build around themselves, and to live a life more fulfilling and adventurous. It always goes back to Walden Pond, where Thoreau talks about how he talks about all this stuff, and that once you have all your basic needs met, what a human really wants is adventure. Whether that's through hobbies, whether that's through your work, just the more adventure and the stronger and more courageous you can become, the greater the adventure becomes. And if you lose everything a few times, that's just part of the game. I mean, I read a lot of biographies, a lot of successful people, and they failed a lot. There's a few times where they have no money. And like Lincoln, he didn't have money and he struggled. And then look what happened. I mean, he caught wind of a political upheaval and he had a message that resonated with people and it propelled him. And yeah, who knows? He's just one example, and don't want to compare, yourself to the greats that much because let's face it, not everyone is going to be Abraham Lincoln. But you can break through and you can create a life that's meaningful, that to where you're actually giving service and value to people, whether that's monetarily or not. I mean, it's probably better if it's not, but if you can get paid to do it, then that's even better. Anyway, I'm going to finish this ramble and have a good night. This is Powerful Thought Daily. Good night. Bye.